Hey, these calls on Monday are Q&A where the folks we're helping out, whether you'll dial into our free service or you're one of our ongoing clients, this is a chance to hear some concerns and, well, questions that need to be answered by owner operators all over the country. And we're going to dive into that. But before we do, I do want to make mention of something that you may find extremely valuable. Grandmaster Clark and I have put together a 99-day course, and we call it Black Belt Business. And over the course of these 99 days, some pretty interesting things are going to happen. One of which is that uh, every morning you'll receive a text from Grandmaster Clark with a video message that is relevant to the line of work we do. And for the most part, it's about mindset, how to think, and some of the challenges that he's overcome over the 54 years of his business that may inspire and help you. In addition to that, we're going to dial in the first three levels of our business on this course. Level one, of course, is generating leads. Everything you do to acquire the interest of somebody who may come into your academy to enroll. Level two is what do you do with that lead to nurture them so they actually show up ready to rock and roll and enroll in a membership. And level three is our entry level program. As a matter of fact, we have a website that Roman just put the address in the chat. So go ahead and download it, listen to the video, look at all the goodness that we're going to provide for you, and who knows, it could be a good fit. Now let's dive into it. Hey, I've got two burning questions I need to address for the audience, and the first one was speed the lead. How important is it to call these folks ASAP? Now, here's the rub. When a lead comes in, most of you, if not all of you, have some type of autoresponder where immediately they're sent a text that lets them know we got their information. You might be leveraging AI, and I think that's all well and good. I think there has to be an immediate response when people opt in, and it doesn't matter if they opt in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 a.m. in the morning. They need to receive a text to let them know that you have their details. And based on the time you're responding to that lead, you got to tell them what's up. When are you going to reach out to them? So those of you that are using autoresponders, at a minimum, your message should include the time frame in which you're going to reach out, because you have to create a sense of urgency when following up on leads. See, it's been our experience that these leads have shelf life. Typically, if you're not connected with a lead within 72 hours, the likelihood of you even having a conversation is reduced almost down to zero. For those of you that are keen to some of the marketing training that's out there, they'll even tell you that if it takes longer than 5 minutes to respond to the lead, it decreases the likelihood that you'll connect with them by as much as 80%. So you got to move fast. And one of the regimens I would strongly recommend that everybody yield to is block off your day. You know, from 9 to 10 o'clock, you're going to work your leads. Maybe you'll do it again from 1 to 2. Maybe we'll give it a third shot from 3 to 4. Maybe we'll go ahead and reach out to them before we go home. But quicker and sooner is better than waiting for later. Because the truth is, these leads, their interest burns off pretty quick, because most of us are marketing on Facebook, and you're doing what's called interruption marketing, where somebody's scrolling through looking for a cat video, and boop, there it is, an ad for your program. Whether it's a kid's ad or a family or an adult solicitation, makes no difference. You're interrupting them. And then that spark of interest is only enough for them to opt in with their information. But the truth is, their interest bleeds off in a matter of minutes or a few short hours. So you have to respond more quickly. Now, 9 times out of 10, when you call, they don't take your call. Or might they? Well, they might if you do what's called double dial or even triple dial. You call, their machine picks up, you hang up, call back again. The machine picks up a second time, call back again. Creative sense of urgency where the person who's receiving this call may come to the conclusion that this is serious, I better take it. Now, the message you leave is extremely important. It has to be high and tight. You have to leave a message. Isn't about, hey, I'm here to give you all the information. You got to enthusiastically leave a message that's going to stir their interest even more. And here's an example. You got to call. And when you call, when the machine picks up, you got to say their name 3 times. Terry Lewis. Oh, hi, Terry. This is Fred Mertens, one of the instructors up here at Karate America on Monument Road. Hey, I see you just submitted your details to find out about our program. And I'm the instructor who's going to help you with all the information to find out about our academy. And I got to tell you, Miss Terry Lewis, your timing is perfect. We're enrolling new students all this week. But I do need to tell you that this is a very popular offer in our class fulfillment fast. So not to miss out, you need to call me back right away or shoot me a text. Here's my telephone number and say it nice and slow. So I look forward to hearing from you. All the best. Goodbye for now. It's got to be quick. It's got to be quick. And we have uncovered that the faster you respond to a lead, the more likely that lead may turn into an actual trial that shows up. Now, next question is, well, what should I do with my trial? Should it be pay to play or should it be free? Experiment. If you haven't had experience selling trials, you might want to lean into that first. And let me tell you why. In order to sell a trial, you have to be fully engaged in the conversation. And what we have learned is that if you know you're going to ask for money for your trial over the phone, you might spend a little bit more time getting ready to deliver that message. So my recommendation is try selling your trial over the phone. The sweet spot typically is a 2-week offering for $20. And the reason why $20 works is most of us on a call, if we lost a $20 bill, you wouldn't spend all day looking for it. So a $20 purchase is not that big of a deal for most. Now, once somebody does purchase that $20 trial, the likelihood of them showing up in most cases is north of 90%. 9 out of 10 people that buy a trial from you will show up. So experiment with that. Now, the next question that was asked, and yeah, I'll go here. Okay, I'm going to address that in just a moment, Roman. The next question is, should I mention prices over the phone when I speak to a lead? There's good news and bad news to that. The good news of discussing your tuition price is this: if they show up, they'll sign up. The bad news is when you talk about price before they come in, most people don't show up. So now that you have both sides of the equation, what do you think? I would do my absolute best not to discuss my tuition structure or pricing over the phone. If I write this down, sight unseen, it's hard to determine the value of your membership, sight unseen. As a matter of fact, you can even tell people that. But let me explain the regimen for addressing the question, well, how much is it after that? What type of program do you sell? How much do I have to pay? Do I have to sign a commitment? One of the things I want you to realize is that addressing these questions at this point is premature, and it very seldom works out in your favor. So here's how you address the concern about pricing. The first time you're asked about your tuition price over the phone when you're establishing a relationship with this lead, this scheduled appointment, is real simple. Ignore it. Pretend like you didn't hear it. Oh, but I got to know, how much is it after the trial? Well, Mrs. Lewis, are these lessons for you or someone else in your family? Oh, well, tell me about your child, little boy, little girl, what you got? And how old is he? And what is your son's name? Just ignore it. It goes unheard, because the reason people ask for price over the phone without visiting or seeing your academy or knowing anything about you is because it's the only, what they think, intelligent question they can ask. See, people don't know enough about who you are, what you do, how you do it, to discuss the fairness of your tuition structure. So why would they ask for price? They don't know what else to ask about. Typically, you're going to find that people will ask 3 questions when you have them on the call for the very first time. They'll ask, how much is it? When are your classes? And what do I have to enroll for? Is there a membership agreement? All 3 of those questions, if they're addressed in the initial contact, the first conversation, if you even entertain them, you will decrease the likelihood that this person will commit to an appointment and actually show up. But let's stay hyper-focused on price. They ask for price because they think it's an intelligent question to ask. But the problem is, what might they be comparing you to? The truth is, the vast majority of students that most of us enrolled are children, but the kids don't sign themselves up. You're speaking to a parent, and the parent, more likely than not, has already been involved in a couple of activities that the kid experienced or participated in for a short while. But the problem is they're comparing you to something that we have no idea what they're talking about. Because remember, Parents that reach out to you about their children and the benefits of your membership, they don't know anything about you. But to have a conversation about your tuition prematurely is the kiss of death. So when the person you're speaking with asks about price, the first step is to ignore it. So it goes unheard. If they ask again, redirect it. Here's what that sounds like. Mrs. Smith, well, we'll get to all that. But let me explain how all our students start. This way, you can find out firsthand how our membership will help your youngster. So you just redirect the question. Again, I'm going to avoid talking about tuition because it makes no sense at this point. However, if you're challenged a third time, well, I'm not coming in unless I know the price, you have to say this. Well, Mrs. Lewis, we have a variety of programs to choose from, but you're going to find that our tuition is competitive. And I'm certain that we'll be able to find a membership and a schedule that's going to fit your budget perfectly. But the way we start everyone is to first go through the introductory lesson, the trial program. This way you can find out firsthand how we're going to help your family. So, and then you just shift back to the dialogue. Now, if they still want to hear a number, here's how you answer it. Our least expensive option is XYZ. Just reduce it. Take your cash offer, divide it by the number of classes they will take, and dial it down to a per class rate. Like, for example, our least expensive program here in Jacksonville, Florida, runs about $19 a class. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Everyone gets started the same way with their trial. And after our very first lesson, if it looks like this is the right membership for you, right program, we'll review the tuition options and find out what's best. So that's the strategy about pricing. Now, we have dialogue that you can download and review and use what we use, but here is the strategy. The first time they ask for price, you ignore it. The second time they ask for price, you redirect it. The third time, you give them a slight overview and put their mind at ease by saying this bold statement. I'm certain, Mr. Lewis, after our first lesson, if your child loves it as much as I know he will, we'll review the tuition options and find something that's going to fit your budget perfectly. But let's take the first step and schedule our very first lesson. Roman, would you read off the questions that are popping in?
Yeah, we have one. I pulled it from the group. It's from Michael Anderson. It said, how many of you put your prices on your website?
Well,
Which is basically a question on should you put your price on your website?
Okay, so let me answer it. Ready? No. Ladies and gentlemen, we sell the intangible. It's not an object that a person can consider about its value. It's a relationship. And to put your prices on particularly your program prices on your website, I'll go ahead and say it's the kiss of death. Because what we're doing is we're inviting somebody to make the decision about your membership solely based on price. Not about the perceived value of your membership, not based on the experience they have. And listen, if you invite people to shop with their wallet before they make a decision to meet you, you're going to meet less people. So don't put your pricing on. The only price they should see is if you offer a trial membership at a cost. But as far as breaking down your tuition by the class, by the week, by the month, talking about the different levels of membership you have, there's no need. It's too much, too soon, too fast. As a matter of fact, listen to this. The reason you have a website is to harvest that person's information to generate a lead. But if we think posting prices is going to serve you, you're solely mistaken. And the reason why is this: sight unseen, there's no way somebody can predetermine whether or not you're worth whatever it is you put on your website. So don't do it. What do you have next, Roman?
The questions are a little dry this week. That's all we have so far. But if anyone in the meeting has a question, feel free to unmute and ask it. Anything around lead generation, lead nurture, how to enroll on day one, teaching family classes, anything like that, just ask away.
Well, let me make a question up. Hey, when should I teach my first lessons? All right, here's the best strategy. A lot of folks think, well, if I open up my schedule where I could do an orientation or a trial class on the hour, every hour, all day long, that will serve me. No, it won't. It'll actually confuse you and your staff. Here's what I strongly recommend. Pick time blocks that you can put all your energy into the enrollment presentation. For example, one of the studios I work directly with here in Jacksonville, literally right down the street from here, we made the decision that we're only going to have four orientations a week. We're going to do Monday, Wednesday at 4:30 and at 5:15. And we're going to do Tuesday and Thursday at 5 and at 7. And our job is to stack the deck. No more onesie twosies. Listen, when you get better at generating leads, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 leads a month, you're going to end up teaching 20, 30, maybe 40 introductory lessons. If you do them as a one-off exercise, it will be physically and emotionally exhausting. So my recommendation is take our example and teach group trial classes, group orientation. The sweet spot is 3. If you can have 3 people scheduled to come into your academy, meet the instructor, take a tour of the facility, figure out what they want to accomplish in a program, and take their first lesson together, you will enroll more people. So group presentations, I think, are really the way to go for a lot of reasons. But the main reason is the more people involved, the easier it is for you to ratchet up to generate more energy. So in terms of scheduling introductory lessons or orientation classes, whatever you prefer to call them, my recommendation is fill them. Pick a spot during the course of your busy evening where you have about 45 minutes to an hour that the program director or the master instructor can control for enrollment. Because we got to get our priorities in line. There is nothing more important than generating a lead. In second place is to get that lead to show up. And third place is to convert that person that showed up for the first lesson into a membership that's going to matter. And the way to do that is to coordinate these orientation classes where you can help more people simultaneously. Now, if this sounds kind of intimidating, well, I get it. But once you understand how to present the class, having 2, 3 families involved in the orientation at the same time is a surefire way of getting more people enrolled. The only thing you do differently between a single person introductory lesson and a small group is the actual presentation of the numbers when you invite them to enroll. And so the dialogue that we've created at the end of an introductory lesson, we just tell them, well, congratulations, your first class, we all did great. Now, let me remind everybody what our trial program is all about. Our trial membership is the qualifier we use to make certain that a student is ready for one of our memberships. And after what we saw tonight, I got to say, congratulations. Everyone here has qualified for one of our memberships. So here's what we'll do next. We'll sit down with each family, review the memberships that are available, and decide what's best. So who's first? Just raise your hand. Who's first? Somebody's going to raise their hand. And then you go ahead and do the picking order. So I'll meet with the Wilsons first, the Lewises. You guys have a seat in the lobby. Matter of fact, grab a bottle of water. And the Smiths family, well, we'll speak to you third. Just coordinate it. Listen, when people see things of value, they'll wait in line. I'll give you a great example. This Thanksgiving, I agreed to bring my family a honey-baked spiral cut ham. Who's here has ever gone to one of those places? The first time I ever went, I ordered it online, showed up. There must have been 100 people in line just a day before Thanksgiving. People will wait when they recognize the value. People will wait when they recognize that they have to give you a little consideration to make sure that they have all the information they need to make a firm, solid, well-informed decision. So don't worry about rushing the sale. Do a group orientation class, close it as I demonstrated earlier, and then one at a time, sit down with the families and present your offer. Incentivize the offer by helping them save money by making a decision at the end of the first class, then put them on a membership. What else just came in, sir?
All right, we got from Dave, how late is too late to make calls for end of the night lead calls?
Oh, that's a great question. I think if you came here to Jacksonville or you visit our academies in Sacramento, you're going to find that typically before the men and women that work with us walk out of the academy, they'll make one more call. We call it the golden hour. Why? Well, everybody's fat and happy. And the golden hour is after 7 o'clock at night. So if you're not calling from 7 to 7:30, you might be missing one of those sweet spots that a lot of us don't realize people will pick up the phone. So 7 to 7:30, I think, is the time in the evening you should reach out. Beyond 7:30, it might be a little tricky, particularly if a family has younger children. But don't be afraid to call at night. This idea that we should only call during normal business hours is a great idea, but it doesn't work. What I want you to realize is that typically, if you want to connect with more people, late afternoon, early evening hours are what's best. However, to prime that pump, we're going to call in the morning, we're going to call midday, and we're going to call again in the evening. And this is how you demonstrate to the person who opted in that you're taking their interest seriously and you're doing everything you can to connect with them and provide them with what information, what services they need to find out about your program.
All right, next we have from Professor Darren. Normally when new students pay for trial, I do first lesson private. Should I try to sell them on the program on their first private lesson or their first group lesson?
I really like this question. My recommendation is that whenever someone comes into your academy to find about your membership and they agreed to take a lesson, whether it's a group class or a one-on-one intro, I want you to realize that is the best time. That is the only time that you can enroll more people. And there's two reasons why. Number one, they are there. One of the things I want everyone to consider, particularly the newer guys on the call, is that if somebody takes their first lesson and you don't enthusiastically invite them to enroll, you just put that membership at risk. Be-backs sometimes don't be back. Now, if you're having success doing the old Texas two-step where you teach an intro and they come back to a group class, well, okay, congratulations. But I would invite you to experiment because it's been my experience. I think the first time someone comes into your academy is the best time to enroll them because their emotions at an all-time high. You're able to leverage the excitement about something new. You're able to leverage the experience they just had with you to convey the value of your membership to enroll them. The problem with scheduling someone for a second or third visit before you enroll them is that you're putting that membership at risk because you can't control what happens between the last conversation you have with them and the next one. Let me give you an example. Sometimes when we do the old Texas two-step and have somebody come back a couple times before we enroll them, we don't realize that life gets in the way. They didn't realize they'd have to battle traffic. They didn't realize they'd have to yank their kid away from the video game to get them in the car to take them to class. There's a lot of consideration. We allow them to talk about your membership before they ever sign on the line that is dotted because they're going to ask family members and friends and coworkers, well, what do you think? Hey, Jenny, last night I took my child to his first martial art lesson, and we're all scheduled to come back next Tuesday for his first class. We have no idea who they said that to, but they might speak with someone who's going to be a Debbie Downer. Oh, karate? Really? They teach at the YMCA for $25 a month. I think you should check them out first. So what we're doing by allowing them to come back before we present is we're allowing them to put themselves in a situation where they may hear or learn or have a conversation that will discourage rather than encourage. However, if you present them at the end of the first visit, everybody hears the presentation. Now, if they do have to decide later, i.e. schedule them, well, now we at least had a shot to sign them up. But presenting membership, presenting incentives to enroll at the end of the first visit is by far the best way to help people make the decision to become part of your academy. I think we should open this one up for a few questions. Based on what I've said, any questions or concerns? Anybody want to add any comments? Let me bring my friend Master Likes into the conversation. Sir, unmute yourself.
Hello, sir. How's everyone doing today?
I think we're all doing great. Last year, how many students you enrolled?
North of 500.
Ooh, single or group introductory lessons?
Group. My record day is 18 enrollments in one day.
No kidding. Well, that's absolutely fabulous. Now, you weren't always like that. I mean, there was a time you do one-on-one intros, true or false?
True.
What made you shift into these group introductory lessons?
Like you said, you only have a certain amount of hours a day.
That's
you
it.
have a certain amount of time. You have to, it doesn't take more time. It takes more intensity. And you got to get really good at your process so you can do these group intros.
So here's how you learn to do it. Dial in on your current orientation experience. Rev the engines as far as how you greet people, how you bring them to front counter and get the information needed to put them on a membership. Jazz up your tour. Hey, listen, when somebody comes into your academy for the very first time, what do they see? Here's what we figured out. They walk into your academy, despite how beautifully it's decorated or what equipment you might have, let's all admit, the vast majority of your studio is open space. So to the person who's never been involved in martial arts, when they walk in, all they see is a big, giant, empty room. And I don't know about you, but I think most empty rooms, it doesn't look like anything valuable is going on until something happens. So you got to take people on a tour where you point out the different features of your academy and how it will benefit a student. Now, it's easier to do that in a small group than one-on-one, but let me keep going. After they've seen the academy, you've turned all these features into benefits. Now, hold on, Fred, what is a feature? A feature is something that you have put in your academy, and its design is to support the student. For example, your matting is a feature. Your card rack is a feature. The equipment used, heavy bags and targets, they are features. Heck, your water fountain could even be a feature. But a feature has no benefit until a person recognizes. Well, for example, one of the great things of our academy is our safety floor. It's the matting. Now, not only is this the best surface to train on, if you were to slip and fall, it reduces any chance of injury. See, what I just did was I pointed out what this mat is and how it benefits the family. This is how you change the perception of value. Pardon me, just 1 second. Yes, sir.
This is in the conference room.
Yes, sir. Well, I thought that's where we go. Yes.
Okay. Got 20 chairs. That's all the people got. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I beg your pardon. We're having a big event here in Jacksonville this week. Thursday, we're doing a full day business training. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Grandmaster Clark is certifying some of our guests in the different martial arts systems that he has, as well as there are a few people testing for master rank. So sorry for that interruption. Where was it? All right, let me get back to it. So remember, they walk into your academy, you see a big, giant empty room. We got to take them on a tour to point out all the features and how they specifically benefit the student. Then from there, we got to find out why they want to take martial arts. What you'll realize is that people enroll in martial arts with a predetermined idea of what they think they'll get. In many cases, what they think they'll get from your program was only enough to get them there, maybe not sign them up. So we have a very simple, what we call PA, personal analysis, where we ask a few questions to change the student or change the family's minds about what else they can gain, what are the benefits they can earn for the martial art program. See, the reason they showed up was big enough to get them to show up. But to give them a bigger reason to sign up, you got to take them through some leading questions. So after we take them through these leading questions I just mentioned, now we have a lesson that we can deliver. So whether they're looking for confidence or boosting self-esteem or fitness or self-defense, we can build the orientation class around that specifically for this group to change their mind about how valuable and how spot on your membership is. Then, of course, after the lesson, you congratulate everyone and, of course, do your presentations. But pitching people at the end of the first visit of all the things you can do to improve your business, that's probably number one. And there you have it. What else do we have, Roman?
All right. Next from MJ Singh. What does your end of day report look like? Is it a text or an audio message, or what does it look like?
Well, when we talk about end of day, what we're talking about is how do we inform everybody involved in the academy what happened that day? Although most of us are probably using some kind of software, I think there's something magical about writing things down. So we have a daily report, a manual daily report that you fill in. The most important part of that is tracking the leads and appointments and the shows and who did and did not move forward. So we have a daily report that a picture is taken of that report and it's sent, it is text to whoever overviews. Like, for example, here in Jacksonville, there are 9 studios I oversee. By 10 o'clock at night, I've received a text from all 9. And all 9 simply took a picture of what we call our daily report. So I have an idea of how things have went and what we can look forward to doing next. So this idea of just using software, great idea, but I think there's something almost magical about people writing down. So Master Singh, when I see you this Thursday, I'll share with you the reporting system we use and you can embrace that. But I think every single person on staff has to be well aware of what's happening in real time. And the problem with using software is that you have to log on or log in or log something, where if there's a handwritten report as far as what's happened, what leads are coming in, what appointments have shown, what monies are collected, it just allows your staff to be more involved. Now, saying that, I think the same thing holds true for an appointment book. These online appointment books, too good to be true. My recommendation is get a big, giant appointment book. What we use is a plotter of 2 weeks in advance. And we actually write the times people are coming in, what they're coming in for, and as far as the name and contact information. But I think physically writing things down gives it another element of people, of your staff, being able to be in contact with what needs to happen so they can stay steady on what needs to take place, as well as keep accurate accounting of what's happened so far. What you got, Roman?
Next from Pitmaster is, should we bring new leads into our regular class?
Okay, if the question is, I got someone show up for the first lesson, I throw them in class, my answer is do your best not to do that. And the reason why is we don't want to overwhelm our students. We don't want to show our students what they can't do. We want to show them what they get to do. And in a group lesson, sometimes it's very difficult to control, particularly if you have a larger group. So my recommendation, all first lessons should be done solo, one-on-one, or with other people there for the very first time. Because here's what has to happen in the very first lesson. It's the trifecta. You take a student through a first lesson, and I don't care if that kid is 4, 40, or 80 years old. 3 things have to happen. Number 1, they realize they can do it. However, if you put somebody in a group class, you can't control all the elements of what's happening, and they may have doubts that they're ready. I mean, come on, think about it. How many adults have you spoken to about your membership and they acted mildly curious and they said something like this? Well, I guess I got to lose 20 pounds first. You realize they've already discounted the idea of getting started. It's overwhelming. But if you let people know that the very first step is a orientation class, about a 30-minute workout to give you an idea of exactly what we're going to accomplish and what you'll learn from our program, it's a surefire way of not only helping more people show up, but have the experience that they can do it. Second, they have to have the experience that not only can they do it, hey, they're going to be pretty good at it. But in a group class, you can't control what they're exposed to. You can't control what they see. You can't control that they're comparing themselves to somebody who may have been there for many months or years. However, in a small orientation type setting, you can control that. And as a result, you can do the training where somebody can physically actually do it. And in their mind's eye, they'll realize, well, not only can I do it, I might end up being pretty good at that. But third is this. People don't enroll for the martial arts program. People enroll for the instructor. So the third element of doing introductory classes, as opposed to putting people in class, is that you start creating your mentor relationship. This is what sells martial arts. A parent has to be so impressed by how you're interacting with their child, they'll realize that they need that level of influence. They need this relationship. However, when you stick somebody in class, you lose any possibility of creating that connection. So let's recap. Don't put them in class. There's too much at risk. Something bad could happen, or they'll come to the conclusion that they're not ready. Teach a one-on-one or small orientation class to prove to them they can do it, they're going to be good at it, and you're the one for them. Now, take it a step further. If you put a kid in class and you let the parent watch the lesson, what does the parent see? What they see is their kid may not be ready for this martial art thing. See, you can't control it. And if you put a kid in class and allow a parent to watch, they're going to sit there with their arms crossed and pass judgment on everything. They're going to compare their child to another, or they know their kid really well, and they'll be able to tell their kid's apprehensive or nervous or might be a little clumsy about it. So you can't control the perception of the parent. Listen, most parents are concerned whether their kid can or can't do it. You can control that with a one-on-one or small orientation class because you can deliver the training that you know everybody can do. They're going to have a sensation that they're going to get good at it. But third, you've impressed upon them that you are the instructor they're looking for. So if you are throwing people in class, pick up the understanding that a orientation class allows you to control more of what they get to see, and you help them come to the conclusion that they have in fact found the right martial art academy. Roman, what do you got?
It looks like a follow-up from Pitmaster is, how do we separate class?
Well, I'm not certain what the question means, so I'm gonna take a guess at it. When you say separate the class, are we talking about one level of training to the next, or are you interested in segregating the class based on age and rank?
Said,
Because what I want to share with you, let me
how
cut
to
to
separate the class from the trial. And if you'd like to unmute, and I think you might be able to explain your question a little bit better, because I'm still a little bit confused on it.
So, Mr. Hackelman, if you would, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay. I was talking about the trial, like, because we have, unlike a lot of schools, we're almost even right down the middle to adults to kids. It's about almost 50-50.
That's
So
nice.
we do a lot of like signups are adults. So you think it's better to do an adult, like an adult trial and a kids trial, and then their kids, we go from 3 to 5 and then regular kids. But the peewee, should we do a peewee trial too? You know what I mean?
You got one shot to make a first everlasting impression, and want that impression to be rock solid. The portion of this conversation I'll really stress is that when a new student is in the class, it's hard to control their experience. Now, what it sounds like, you don't have an introductory room or side room you can use. You just have one open mat.
We do if we had to. We always just, a new person, a trial comes into the class, and then they do either a week or two, depends if there's a special, and then we sign them up or not. But they don't do anything different than our regular students. We just put them let them borrow some gear, because most of them don't have the gear, and then they have to buy it if they sign up. But we let them borrow gear, and they just jump in the regular classes, kids and adults.
The challenge I see with that is that we're treating them as though they're already a member. And the challenge with that is they're almost figuring out by themselves. So when you have a well-orchestrated orientation or introductory lesson, you can cover all the concerns that an adult or a parent might have about your membership. You can place emphasis on what they'll need to do to get what they want in terms of benefit. The challenge I have with allowing people to use their trial membership is they aren't guided. They aren't guided. I'll give you an example. I went to a museum once, the Met Museum in New York. I walked in, I thought, okay, here I am. I'm already 40. I'm gonna become more sophisticated. I walked around, I had no idea what I was looking at. I just went from one gallery to the next. I thought I was impressed by everything, but the truth is, I had no idea what I was looking at. A few months later, a young lady said, come on, let's go to the museum. And straight away I thought, I've already been there, done that. And she goes, whoa, when'd you go? And I explained my experience. She goes, oh, no, you went about it all wrong. Let's go together, and I guarantee you're going to have a wonderful experience. So we went back to the museum. We checked in for the tour. We put on a headset, and some expert guided us through the exhibits. It was really a wonderful experience. But the one I had previously, unguided, just me doing my thing, looking around, acting like I knew what I was doing, that was horrible. But the guided tour was absolutely amazing. I had a lot of fun, met some wonderful people. That's what I want you to, that's how I want you to think about your introductory lesson. Unguided, just throwing them in class puts that relationship at risk. And there's even more to it. The longer you allow somebody to decide if it's the right membership, the less likely you enroll that person. And it has nothing to do with your martial art program. It has everything to do with the idea that the rest of their life has to be taken into consideration. I mean, think of it this way, sir. There's 168 hours in a week. You might see your student 2 or 3 of those hours. So the other 165 hours, well, life goes on. And based on the challenges they deal with, it may diminish their interest in martial arts. However, if I can help somebody understand the impact of my membership and put them on a program at the end of the first lesson, they go into the rest of their week realizing that this martial art deal is going to increase the quality of their experience in life. So don't let them take the class. Don't throw them in a lesson. It puts the membership at risk. Now, if you're already having good results sticking people in class, maybe the question's got to be asked, well, the people that get here and go to class, it seems to work out. But what about the people who are scheduled for a class? Did they show up? Sometimes we forget how intimidating it is to walk into a martial art academy the very first time. I mean, even full-grown adults are apprehensive and nervous, and before you know it, your 5 o'clock that's supposed to show up just ghosts you, disappears. But if you have a more gentle approach, Mrs. Lewis, everyone gets started the same way. Now, we have a 2-week trial, but the first lesson is our orientation class. This way you can find out for yourself exactly how we're going to help your child develop that confidence you said you want them to have. But most importantly, show you the ropes as far as how to participate in the class and have a lot of fun. If you sell it that way, they'll actually, not only are they more likely to show up, they're more likely to show up with the right attitude in terms of, oh, I'm just finding out if this is the right studio. Now, let's go back to the script. At the end of the script, when you put someone on schedule for their first class, you can even add this. Oh, just to let you know, Mr. Lewis, most of our families that come in for their very first lesson know by the end of that class whether or not they found the right martial art academy. And if that's the case for you, you know, if you love it as much as I know you will, we won't need to use that 2 weeks. Heck, I'll even show you how to save money by enrolling, okay? So once I tell them they're going to be handled one-on-one for the first lesson, they're more likely to show up. And then when I invite them to consider, if they love the program as much as I think they will, I'll even have to show money. I'm addressing both challenges simultaneously. The challenge of getting somebody to show up and the challenge of enrolling somebody at the end of the first visit. Did that help? It sounded like a long-winded answer. Did I address your concern?
Is that so? You're saying I understood everything, but is the first week a trial that they go to separate class, or just the first one, the first time they come in?
Okay, I know how to answer your question a little better. The trial is the hook to help them commit to showing up.
Right.
But nobody gets to use the trial. As a matter of fact, what you're going to learn from us, sir, is that the trial is a small offering that doesn't require big risk. Whether it's $20 or it's free, it's $49 makes no difference to me. But people invest in the trial, or people commit to the first lesson to find out more about you. Now, a lot of folks think that they have to use the entire trial to determine if you are the right academy for them. But what if I told you with the right presentation, at the end of the very first visit, this person will know whether or not you're the right academy for them. And if we can convey that, there's no need to use the trial. Now we can leverage the value of the trial and use it as an incentive for enrolling. And let me give you an example. Right now, how long is your trial?
So 2 classes.
I said 2 classes. Okay. So what we can do is at the end of the very first lesson, let them know that, hey, we use this trial membership to qualify a student for a membership. But after what we just experienced, you found the right academy. Let me explain our membership and even show you how to save money by enrolling tonight. So just discount the idea they have a trial and use money as an incentive to enroll them. And that might sound like this. Well, Mr. Lewis, normally to enroll in our membership, there's an initial investment of $295. But to encourage you to enroll tonight, I can save you $200. So the enrollment is only $95. How does that sound? Well, that sounds great. And the way the tuition works, and then you can explain your tuition rigmarole. But here's the part I want you to take from this explanation. If you do it right, on average, you'll collect between $500 and $700 at the end of the first visit by following our lead. And the monthly tuition will begin 30 days later. See, more money now typically means more money later. So it's very important to be able to have the dialogue, have the experience where they recognize the value, incentivize them to sign up by saving money, but still I'm going to show you how to collect a significant amount of money on day one. If you can collect on average $500 on the first day when you enroll student, your business, the entire complexion of your business will change. Because what ends up happening is, in order to collect that money, people have to recognize the impact, the potential value. And when they pay the money, they're more firmly committed. You know, this idea that I need to make my program more affordable is a great idea, but the problem is you end up not enrolling students with full capacity. So what I want you to change is your thinking. I don't want to make it more affordable. My presentation is going to make the offer more valuable. And this is how you enroll more people at the end of the first visit and collect more money. Plus, there's one more thing too. There's the scaling part. If you're taking 2 or 3 classes to enroll people, as your marketing improves and you start scheduling more people, you're so busy, you'll get nothing done. And follow me on this. If I enroll 10 students a month, let's say that's my goal, but it takes me 30 points of contact to enroll this person, I'm so busy I can't get anything done. But if I want to enroll 10 people and I have a presentation where I'm able to present 2, 3 people at a time, now I'm doing a fraction of the presentations that I have more time to get more things done. So as we move forward, one of the ideas we have for you is, how can I scale what I'm doing? In other words, how can I get a bigger result by, in fact, doing a little less? And that just requires a different strategy for this business. To enroll 20 people here in Jacksonville, it doesn't require 30, 40 presentations. It might just require 10, maybe 12. And that's the advantage of following the lead, the example that I'm illustrating now. So my recommendation is do something separate than putting people in class and invite them to enroll at the end of the first visit. And the way you do that is you incentivize them. And you'll learn more about that presentation as we work together with the weeks to come.
Okay.
Any follow-up questions for that?
Just, I mean, just what about, like, what if if they don't, just to say they didn't sign, for the first day, then they have 2, should the second day be a one that's separate with a separate class, or do they then go to the regular class? The second one.
If they're unable to enroll, we got to uncover why they're unable. It could be money, it could be time, it could be whatever. But if you're able to schedule the next lesson, I'd do the same thing over again. Because again, if I throw them in class, I'm putting the relationship at risk. Unless you have somebody as the instructor who can coordinate things to care for that new guy.
Yeah, we do.
But typically what you're going to find out is that after you present somebody, do they come back? I mean, what has your experience been? Somebody said, no, I want to finish the trial. What percentage of those people actually end up on a membership? All of them, some of them, none of them?
A lot of them.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
When you say a lot, can you give me a percentage?
No.
Okay, so one of the things we will do together on that daily report you mentioned earlier is keep track of the appointments that show and what happens. And after a while, you'll recognize the pattern, the results you're creating by how you do things. But if you're not getting results you want, we can start looking more closely at how you're doing things to improve it. But here's what I know. Here's what my many years experience has taught me. The best time to enroll somebody is at the end of their first visit. In second place is the follow-up. But I don't know about you, but I want to present when they're there. I want to present at the end of the first visit. And just by doing that alone over the course of the year, you'll end up enrolling more people.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Roman, we have time for one more.
All right. From Professor Darren, what would you include if they sign up on their first class? A belt, a uniform, a t-shirt? And then would you put a discount on the membership, or what would be the best approach to try to close the sale on their first class as a trial?
On every membership, you should have a membership fee or an initial investment. And for the most part, this can be a phantom number. For example, let's say that I have an entry-level membership. I'm going to call it a basic program. I might have a initial investment of $295. Now, what is that initial investment? Well, what is that membership fee? What is that down payment? Well, here's the answer. It's a portion of the overall tuition to help make your monthly tuition more affordable. So it's a portion of the overall program. A lot of people get into this idea that it pays for the uniform, pays for the belt, it pays for this, pays for that. No, no, no. It's part of the membership. Now, if you do want your students to have equipment and additional pieces of equipment, sell it after they enroll. But let's get back to it. So you have a phantom number. It's just a number that you make up that, again, you tell them is part of the overall tuition, and you leverage the savings against it. You incentivize their decision by saving money. So in this case, here's a scenario. Let's say my tuition is $200 a month, and this person is on a 2-week trial. At the end of that lesson, I'm going to tell them, Mrs. Lewis, we use our trial membership to qualify a student. We'll make sure they're ready for one of our programs. And after what we saw tonight, we found the right martial art academy for your son. So we don't need the next 2 weeks. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to apply the value of your 2-week trial towards initial investment, saving you $100. And ma'am, I'm so confident this is the right membership. I'm going to match the savings, saving you $200 for enrolling tonight. So the initial investment is $95. How does that sound? That sounds great. Heck, half the time they reach for their wallet. And then you explain the tuition. And the way the tuition works, it's just 12 installments of $249. The first one due tonight. Or as you get more advanced, and the way the tuition works is you pay your first and last month to begin. Then starting next month, your tuition will be due on the 15th of each month. So I want to strategize given the incentive against this initial investment. And then once they agree that the discount sounds terrific, I'll go ahead and invite them to understand how the tuition works, and then I'll ask them to get started. And as you go through the dialogue, as we go through the training materials that are available to you, you'll realize how high and tight that can be. So did I answer your question, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Mr. Meyer. Okay, so one last time. Hey, we're kicking off this 99-day program. It starts February 3rd. It'd be for you folks that are not on our ongoing programs, this would be a great way for you to do a deep dive into what Grandmaster Clark does with his organization. And if you're already doing well, this would be a dynamite way of you going through the training to, again, create resources for you to develop your next staff member. You know, one of the cool things about what Master Clark does is that everything he shares with you, all his information, material, the training, isn't just designed for you and how you conduct business, but it's even designed to help you acquire all the assets that are needed to train a staff member. Because one of the things I want everyone to realize is this. Typically, when we hire somebody, the first thing we do is we let them help teach. Now, there's a problem with that. If all your staff starts with teaching, once you introduce them or invite them to get more involved with marketing and sales, you're going to be met with some resistance. Now, here's what I believe. Whatever a staff member learns first, they will always believe it's most important. But if you teach them how to teach first and teaching them how to market and sell secondary, you're putting them at a slight disadvantage. And let me explain why I believe this. When my instructor hired me, I thought, oh, here we go. I get to be a teacher. But once I started the job, he helped me realize, no, teaching comes later. Learning how to help people get started in martial arts is primary. And so my experience was I learned how to market, I learned how to sell in concert with learning how to teach, but I wasn't able to teach any classes until after I demonstrated I had the wherewithal to help build membership. And this is how a studio can go from 0 to hundreds of members. Everyone on staff understands how to contribute to the growth of your academy, how to market, how to invite people into the academy, how to sell, you know what I mean, put people on membership, how to support the membership. as well as how to teach great classes. So with that, do we have anything else, Roman?
There are two more questions that we can either answer now or answer them first on next week's Q&A.
Well, go ahead and give me the first one.
Got it. Yeah, what's the best time for intro classes, Monday through Thursday? And then it says 2 class a day, question mark. That's from Robert Jones.
Okay, great. All right. First off, you want to get in front of prime time. See, once a person is a student, you can tell them, hey, we have classes at midnight, and they'll show up at 11:50. The truth is, once somebody is a member and they understand the benefit, they understand the value, they understand the impact of your program, scheduling is secondary. Now, what the heck am I going with this? I think enrollment is primary. The sweet spot is during prime time. And prime time in our business, regardless of where you are in the country, typically is 4:30 to about 7:30. You want to have your orientation classes within those hours. It's most convenient for people to get there. It has the highest impact when people show up because they'll see other students. They'll see proof positive that this is a credible professional academy. So my recommendation is pick a time that you can fill. And maybe for now, if you're just starting out, pick a time on Monday, pick a time on Tuesday. Maybe Monday, Wednesday is at 5 o'clock. Perhaps Tuesday, Thursday is at 5:30 for your orientation classes. Make it convenient, make it easy for people to get there. And when they're there, make certain that other people are in the building. You know, the truth is, if you're going to take your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend out for dinner, and you drive by a restaurant on Friday night at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and there's nobody there, you know, it might not be a very good restaurant. The same thing holds true with the martial art academy. Bringing people into an empty room doesn't have the same impact as bringing people into your academy when things are rocking and rolling. Again, the visual proof that you are credible is easy to accomplish when you bring people in during prime time and there's other folks taking class. So for now, until you get in the groove of things, maybe you just have one orientation every day during that prime time slot. So it's more convenient for people to come in. And during that time frame, there are other people in the building to prove that you're the right academy. So I got 2 minutes. Let me tackle that last one.
All right, the last one is from Mrs. Rose. Once they're enrolled, what retention protocols do you use?
Okay, here's the answer. We know that if a student doesn't come to class Monday and or Tuesday, they're not going to come in for the rest of the week. As a matter of fact, now that I've said that out loud, watch it. You're going to see that if a student misses Monday and or Tuesday, they're taking the week off. And here's the way people quit. They miss a class, they miss a week, they miss a payment, and they're gone for good. So one of the quickest ways to retain students is to make certain they're showing up. But the best way to retain a student is give them a big, bold idea to sign up in the first place. What is their goal? What do they want to accomplish? And we do that doing a PA. However, once they're a member, we got to reward what you want repeated and give these students the attention they deserve when they show up for class. However, if they don't show up Monday and or Tuesday, send out the search party. Call them Wednesday. Shoot them a text. Send them a message. Mrs. Lewis, we didn't see Timmy Monday or Tuesday, and classes haven't been the same without him. Please reach back out. Let me know what's going on so we can schedule his next lesson. That is the surefire way of keeping people more involved. However, the big general way to, again, increase retention is to make certain that you're constantly changing the direction the student is going. Now, earlier I said we're in the relationship business. Let's talk about your personal relationship. You went on a date, you became exclusive, you got engaged, you got married, you have kids. If you think about it, the relationship expanded because your commitment deepened. The same thing holds true in our business. If you want to keep people longer, change the reason why they are there. And the reason could be parallel with an outcome, becoming a first-degree black belt or a third-degree black belt. So in concert with keeping track of attendance, set big goals for students. One of the easiest ways to improve retention is to make certain that every single student knows why they are there, what they're trying to accomplish, and when it's going to happen. And the shortcut to that is what's called outcome-based memberships. And we can address that as we do more of these Q&A calls. So with that, we need to sign off. But listen, try that 99-day course. There's a link. Sign up for it. We start the 3rd. During the course of that program, if you recognize that our services can really help you, we'll allow you to apply that money towards another level of training. Hey, review the website and figure out if it's the right fit. In the meanwhile, I see several names of folks I'm going to see this week. So I look forward to meeting you guys in person. All the best and goodbye for now. Thank you.